At this time, we're going to take a brief break from the book in order to be able to look at something called proportions. All a proportion is a statement that two ratios are equal. Okay, so for example, taking the cream cheese problem from a quiz. Okay, or really just from a recipe. Let's say you have a recipe for 30 cookies, needs 4 cups of flour. Okay. And we can say how much flour do you need to make 150 cookies. Okay. There's going to be two ways of going about solving these. Okay. If I take this problem and set up two ratios, I have 30 cookies going with 4 cups of flour. So I can set that ratio up as 30 cookies is to 4 cups of flour. And then it says I have 150 cookies, so since I put the 30 cookies on top, I have to put the 150 on top over how much flour. It's what I don't know. These two ratios have to be equivalent. In order to make cookies that come out the same, I need the same sort of ratio of flour to the number of cookies I'm making. So at this point, you can, the first method is by using equivalent ratios, okay, which we've also talked a little bit about, in the sense that 30 times 5 is 150, so 4 times 5 would have to equal 20. So I should end up with 20 cups of flour. Okay. There is another method that can be used. I call it the Hart method. In reality, it should probably be called cross products. That's the real name for it. What it is that I still have the same exact setup, that 30 over 4 is equal to 150 over x. Using sort of the properties for solving equations, okay, the Hart method will begin, say, in the bottom right, and go through the top and multiply. So I would get 30 times x. I would put the equal sign, and then I would begin at the other side and do the same thing. So I would do 4 times 150. Once again, all with multiplication. Okay. So at this case, I would have 30x is going to equal 600. Then I'm able to just divide by 30 using what you know about solving equations. So x would end up equaling 20. So it's 20 cups of flour. I call this the Hart method because in a sense you're forming a heart. You're going crisscross. Now you look at this and say, well, why do you use this as opposed to this? This method only will work sometimes with the equivalent ratios, and that's what you've been working on. This problem, this idea of using cross products, will always, always, always work. Okay? And it's pretty simple. You just multiply, and then have it being equal. You have an equation which you guys are pros at solving. So this method will always, 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 always work. So this is sort of where we're headed with being able to solve these problems. In particular, the ones that don't come out necessarily evenly. Okay, so it's another tool to be able to use. So this is what we'll be working on solving and working with a little bit more.